Hi, everybody. This is Lisa once again, and in this hour, we're going to have a speaking class here on Verbling. Because there's nobody in class right now, I'm just going to give you all a little bit of information about Verbling. Hi, Paulino. How are you? Verbling is a website where people can come and take classes in English, Spanish, Russian, Italian, French, and in English we try to have classes, at least one or sometimes even two classes per hour every hour of the day and the evening, 24/7 as they say. So we have lots of different teachers, males and females, teaching English native speakers from around the world. From English-speaking countries, so they are native English speakers, but they live in different countries. So my name is Lisa, and I live in the United States of America. I'm from California originally, but I live in Washington State now. And hi there, Mo. How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. So I was just doing a little introduction to the class while we wait for some people to show up.
Okay, continue.
Okay, thank you. This is going to be a speaking class, so we're going to have a conversation. But before we actually start talking, we're going to read a little bit of an article about the topic that I chose for the class, which was inspired by the previous class that we had about an hour or 2 hours ago, where we were talking about motivation and what motivates people to do things. And Nihan, who may or may not be here at this hour, was singing Money, Money, Money in the background as an example of what can motivate people to do stuff. Work harder, study harder perhaps, achieve something that maybe they wouldn't otherwise. So that's what we're going to talk about. Mo, what time is it now in Turkey?
4 in the morning.
Wow. Do you stay up all night too, like Nihan?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah.
When do you sleep?
Maybe after 1 hour I will go to sleep.
Oh, okay. Good. I'm always curious when people are sleeping. Hi, Ahmad.
Hi, Lisa, how are you?
Good. What time is it in Egypt?
I was guessing like you laughed because you know the time right now. It's 3 a.m.
3 wow. Yes, well, that's what I was asking Mo, is when does he sleep? And when are you going to sleep, Ahmad?
I think I'm not determined. I'm not certain today.
Well,
I slept early today,
oh,
and I just woke up about an hour ago. 2 hours. Just
2 hours ago, yeah. Okay, well, everybody has different time schedules, so it works. That's why it's nice that Verbling has classes every hour. So if you're awake and you're interested, you can come and see what's happening. So in this hour, like I said, we're going to be talking about a topic of motivation and money and getting paid to do things. In this case, study. Hi, Marcelo. How are you? I think your microphone is muted because I don't hear you. So click on the microphone above the Verbling chat.
You hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you now. Marcelo, where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
Brazil, of course. What part of Brazil?
Middle, in the center.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What state? What state in Brazil?
Minas Gerais.
Minas Gerais. Okay, great.
Yes.
Well, welcome. And Yuki, hi Yuki. How are you this evening or this morning for you? Middle of the evening for you? What time is it in Moscow? Yuki, you might be coming in still. Okay, guys. So this is enough people to get started.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I thought it takes a little while sometimes. Yuki, what time is it in Moscow?
It's 5 o'clock a.m.
Okay, we got
now.
3, 4, and
In the
5.
morning.
Yes, you guys are late.
Yes, early morning.
You're
It's
early
early
morning.
morning.
They're late. Yeah. Well, for me right now it's 6 p.m. in the evening, so my kids are in the other room eating dinner, and so we're gonna do some English class right now.
How was the result of your children's soccer's game?
Oh, the soccer
How
game?
is the
Pretty good.
how is the soccer's game of your children?
Good.
It's
Two wins
He
and
won?
one loss. Yeah.
Oh, great result. Yeah.
Yes. But it was kind of funny because the other day one of the moms of the team said every Saturday 50% of the teams lose. And that's true. Every half the people win and half the people lose, but at least they have fun.
I
So,
see.
yeah.
Soccer game is taking place every Saturday.
Every Saturday, yep.
Yeah.
For 10 Saturdays. That's the season in the fall.
That's good. Such a practice is useful for
Exercise?
get higher the motivation of practicing.
Yeah,
soccer.
they like it.
Yeah,
they like it. Well, we can talk about that too. Should we pay them to play soccer? So actually, the topic that we're gonna discuss, because it's not a reading class, it's a speaking class, but I wanted to read something to you, and I just want to have you can follow along if you want, but also you can just listen if you want. And this is going to give the context for what we are going to talk about, and I'm going to be asking for your opinion, your ideas, your experience. But first, I'm going to take a couple of minutes and read this out loud to you guys. It's an article that I found after we were talking about motivation, and Nihan brought up the idea of money as a motivator. So this has been happening in the United States, and it's paying students. Okay? So I'll read, and then we will talk about it. The title is, Should Schools Offer Cash Bonuses for Good Test Scores? As part of the National Math and Science Initiative, some high schools have opened up their advanced placement courses to all students, and those who score a 3 or higher on the AP exam earn a $100 reward, as do their teachers. What do you think of financial incentives to perform well in school? Would you study harder if there were a cash bonus attached to a good grade? In Classes and Scores Soar with Incentives for AP Tests, Sam Dillon reports. So this is in this article here. Joe Nystrom, who teaches math at a low-income high school, used to think that only a tiny group of students, the smart kids, were capable of advanced coursework. But 2 years ago, spurred by a national program that offered cash incentives and other support for students and teachers, Mr. Nystrom's school, South High Community School, adopted a come-one, come-all policy for advanced placement courses. Today, Mr. Nystrom teaches AP statistics to 8 times as many students as he used to, and this year 70% of them scored high enough to qualify for college credit, compared with 50% before. 1 in 4 earned the top score possible, far outpacing their counterparts worldwide. South High students said Mr. Nystrom and his colleagues had transformed the culture of a tough urban school, making it cool for boys with low-slung genes who idolize rappers like Lil Wayne to take the hardest classes. They were helped by the National Math and Science Initiative, a non-profit network that provided laboratory equipment and special training for teachers and organized afternoon tutoring and Saturday sessions. It also paid $100 each to students who scored a 3 or above on the AP exam, and to their teachers, who can also earn additional rewards. Because 43 of his students passed the exam this year, far above his target. Mr. Nystrom will add a $7,300 check to his $72,000 salary. Organizers of the initiative, who met with lawmakers and staff members at a congressional briefing last month, said that over 3 years, the program led to nearly 38,000 AP exams being taken in math, science, and English, many of them by Black and Hispanic students. This year, 308 schools in 6 states are participating. All right, so this was that's the information, and then this was actually put to students asking for their input, and they can comment. And it says, tell us what you think about this program. Would money alone motivate you to study and succeed in school? Do you agree or disagree that receiving a financial reward diminishes the feeling of satisfaction that comes from earning a good grade for its own sake? What do you find most motivates you to perform well in school? Is it a personal feeling of accomplishment, another person, a tangible reward? Why is its influence over you so strong? Okay, so basically they inspired people, they tried to motivate these students by giving them money and also special help, and it seemed to work. A lot of people passed this exam, and the teacher even got quite a bit of money because of that. So what are you saying, Mo? I'm paying to my son to play. So I'm wondering, what do you guys think about this? Is it something that people should be doing? Let me make sure you guys understand. In the United States, this advanced placement exam called the AP exam, what that is a class that you take in high school, but if you get a 3, 4, or 5 on the final exam, the test, the AP test, you get to earn college credit for it. So it's a way that high school students can begin to earn college credit really for free because they're still in high school. So usually when you go to college you have to pay for the class, but at high school you don't have to pay. So this is a way that many students start taking college level classes and getting credit if they pass the exam with a good score. So Ahmad, what do you think about this idea of getting paid to take tests and get good grades?
I've been through this experience. It's very good for the students, but will have in the long term if we see like bad impact. I was in the 3rd year at university when they announced like a reward for the first 3 students in class. It was a very valuable reward, like $2,000.
Yeah.
And some extra incentives like free internet connection, and many like very good package. I wasn't really interested about university at that time. I was like more interested about the practical job. I was working part-time job. But then I quit my job and started to work seriously with my study. What happened in the next year, it was my 4th year at university, it have bad impact because professors who prefer to give the class just to pass knowledge or experience start to feel that kind of challenge because the students just care about the exam, just care about getting the highest score.
Yes.
And in the 5th year it became worse because professors start to be angry because of the questions were more focused about studying not to get knowledge, just to get the highest mark.
Right.
And it's something I think about it, and I think it's not easy to avoid it because whenever you have in the academic life you have a curriculum, so you have to teach or to taught the student in a specific way that lead to exam. And if they were like oriented in a way that they should study to get the highest marks, it will have awful impact in the like let's say in the long term. They will not be focusing to understand or to get the knowledge. They will be just focusing to get the highest mark.
To get the reward for that. Yeah. So you're saying that maybe in the short term it might motivate some people, but really what
Yeah.
they're doing is just trying to get the good score. They're not really learning the subject, and if they're
Yeah.
not really learning, then they might just forget what they learned anyways after the
Yeah.
test, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah. The combination between the students and the professors,
Yeah.
like it should be like let's say comprehensive. It should take all the perspectives. Should consider the professor should be trained to deal with this situation. The curriculum itself should be oriented in this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Marcelo, what do you think about this idea of paying students to do well on it, tests,
I do
take
computer
classes?
engineer. I study computer engineer in Brazil, and
Yeah.
government pay me to study.
Yeah,
And
really?
yes, and I think this money helped me a lot. And
Okay.
I need to maintain my scores high, and
Uh-huh.
the government pay me.
Yeah. So do you think that it is having the effect that Ahmad is saying, that maybe you're not really learning as deeply as you might if you weren't worried about getting the money? Or do you think
No,
it's helping you to be able to study more?
I think it's helped me to study more to maintain my scores high.
Mm-hmm. So,
This money helped me to live in the city.
mm,
I don't live at home, and this money helped me.
okay. Now, in Brazil, does the government do this for other
No,
um,
no,
people, just for engineers or computer programmers, or
no. It's I'm privileged. I
you're
don't
privileged?
know.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Did,
some students,
hmm
not that all.
Yeah. So did you get like into a special program, or is it like a scholarship,
Mm,
or?
I study in public university,
Mm,
and
okay.
I teach, and inside the university I teach Excel.
Oh.
Yes,
Uh-huh. Yep.
and the government pay me for this and for pay me for maintain my scores high.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. It seems like it's working for you.
Yes.
What do you think, Mo, about paying students to do well in school?
I think money motivate any person at any age, even student or teacher or anything. So I think it's good idea. Why not? Of
Hmm.
course, you know, money is everything. So you can get whatever you need. You can get the money. You can solve any problem when you can get the money.
Mm-hmm.
You can enjoy your life when you have the money. Without money, you can't do anything. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
it's not everything in this life, but yeah, but it's a very, very important part in this life, and
Yeah.
maybe the most important things in the life, especially at this time.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
But what about, well, okay, Mo, when you went to school, did you get paid to learn things?
No, I did not get things. Of course, maybe I get this motivated money from my father, from my parents. Yeah,
Mm.
maybe to encourage me, to motivate me. Yeah,
Yeah.
but not from the government. We don't have
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Do you think that you would have tried harder if you were working for money?
Maybe yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
of course.
Yuki. Okay,
Yes.
hold on. Wait, did you want to
Yes.
finish something, Mo?
No, no, no.
Okay.
That's everything. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Yes, Yuki. What do you
Yes.
think?
If I were children,
Yeah.
if I were child,
Mhm.
and I could receive a financial reward.
Mhm.
So I would study hard and seriously, maybe. so, yes, yes, yes. So as Emado referred, as Emado said,
Mm-hmm.
as Emado referred it. I also think that in the short terms, it is a very effective way to to uh, to uh,
Encourage.
motivate
Uh-huh.
children to study with the help of financial reward.
Yeah.
But in long time, I think it will not works. It will not work because now I study English
Yeah.
and other languages in Verbling
Yeah.
almost every day. It is because I I would because not it is because I don't want to it is not because I want to get the money, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to get more knowledge, and I really want to be good at speaking and in speaking languages, and I have a strong desire to understand. Understand the way of thinking from other of people from other worlds, from
Yeah.
other country. It is my main motivation. I think real reason of studying something is not just for getting more money, but also, to get more knowledge and passion to understand to understand to other people
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
communication.
Right.
So I think they organizers of such a financial reward, I think don't understand the real meaning of studying,
Yeah.
real aim of studying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it sounds like for you, Yuki, you're valuing something that comes from inside of you, like your own
Yes,
desire to do
inside
something.
desire from inside.
Yeah.
Yes,
To
they
learn.
think they think only technical way to get higher the motivation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I also think it's interesting because in the article, they kind of make a big deal about the idea that they're paying the kids, but really it's not just paying the students. The teacher's also getting paid. So, and the teacher doesn't just make $100. Like the student, the most a student can make is $100 per test. But this
I
teacher, he
see.
made a lot of money. So
Ah.
I'm wondering how, he earned more money. So I'm wondering if he did a better job of teaching, if he did a better job of helping his students, and therefore they were able to do a better job and pass the exams. Because it also says that they had special training for the teachers, and they also had tutoring and school sessions on Saturday, which is not usual. So it seems like there were more things involved in the success of the students, not just the fact that they got paid some money. So I'm wondering, Imad, do you think what do you think actually helps a person more? Like working at it because you're going to make $100, or do you think the other stuff might actually be more important? The extra help, the better teaching methods, perhaps, equipment, things like that. Imad? Oops, dropped out. Okay.
Sorry,
Can I?
sorry.
Yeah.
did this measures did this experiment
Yes.
to raise the motivation
Yes.
with money. It taking place in America
Yes.
what
In
in
yes.
America.
Some parts, just some parts, not everywhere. It's kind of
Not
like
everyone. It's an experiment, yeah?
yes, it's an experiment because in the United States we have a lot of people, students who do not like to take very much math and science. And so in the United States, people are always saying that we need more students to study math and science so that they can get the jobs that need those skills. So this was kind of a way to try to get more students to actually take higher level math and science classes.
I'm sorry if you feel bad. I'd like to say that it is really American way. I think Americans tend to solve the problem with money. For all things.
Yeah.
Money is higher than the heart. Higher
The
than,
heart, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, I think it is a very American way.
Yes.
Don't you think so?
Can
Yeah,
I
Mo?
add one thing?
Yeah, Mo, go ahead.
I think money is way to motivate the child or any person. Also, maybe, but I think for child, especially for child, and for any person, motivation come from the people when they are child. It will
Really?
come the main things from the parents. Yeah, when the parents when this person is child to move to motivate their son, okay, by money, by praise him, even at home, at school, his teacher to praise him when he do something good, to thank him, everything. But I think, from my opinion, the motivation and like it comes and grow by the child, like when we used to motivate this son when he's a child and become like this when it will grow with him, okay, so he will be motivated person in the future.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I'm sorry, I don't think so. Not all parents. I think not all parents think so. Of course, many parents think that money is main motivation. I'm sorry. Can I finish my statement?
Okay, I'm sorry.
So. I think quite many parents think really about their children's education, not for money, but for their children's benefit. So it is. I think it is very.
Yeah, but I think that's what Mo is saying, and that's what the article is saying is sometimes money can help people, students, maybe do some things that they wouldn't otherwise do, because that's what the article was saying. In this particular case, it was trying to get people, students, who are in low-income high schools. So typically students who are not that interested in school, they don't do that well, and they might never even try to take an advanced placement course. So it was kind of like an incentive that tried to get them to do something that they otherwise don't normally do. And I think that's an interesting thing because, of course, where are the limits? Because the danger that I see is perhaps, what if you give a kid $100 to take this class, and if they get a good score, but then what if they start saying, well, hey, I'm not going to study French then unless you pay me $100, or hey, I'm not going to do this class unless you pay me. Like, maybe they will be less motivated to do other things unless they get money. So,
yeah.
What do you think about that, Ahmad?
Yeah, I could share some like bad side effects that I experienced. In general, it was beneficial. In general, it was very helpful. to have a motivation, like incentive as a money. Yeah, it's very great. But talent in the, let's say, get back in at the university, we have kind of practical uh, assignments and theoretical study.
Yeah.
The practical assignment is like executing a board or creating an electronic device or doing something complicated like making an application software or something like that.
Yeah.
That it requires you to work hard, meaning that if you want to be among the three or the top in your class, you should have good or high marks in the practical section and you have good marks in the theoretical section.
Yeah.
What this money or incentive create as a competition, some students like um, they didn't execute their practical projects by themselves. They hired people as freelancers from the outside the university, paid them some money to get the project like ready to use in the test. And this way, they have gained more time. That might bought them more time to study the theoretical. That get them better chance to get into the test, having enough time. Yeah, even more private tutoring sessions, studying with private teachers outside the university. They were dedicated to get the highest marks that like ruined the competition. Me, for example, I executed my project by myself. It was very complicated, like a robotic arm. I executed hardware, software, everything. I worked by myself, and I have to study at the same time. So I have to keep maintain high level of my marks to keep in the top to keep the reward for myself and to work and to finish my project at the deadline. And that was completely killing because I remember in the last year I was like working 20 hours a day. Yeah. On the other hand, people who are very poor, they don't have the chance to put private tutoring sessions. They don't have the chance to work on very hard and very complicated practical projects. If they study for the theoretical sessions, they will be like more likely going to be in mistakes and to be like they don't have every chance. Like everything is not. They don't have the best chance in everything. And yeah, I remember what happened that we end up with the first and the second student in my class. I totally respect them. I respect everything they did. But they were encouraged by their parents and even paid money more than the reward itself. They spent more than the reward itself on their own project in order to be the top of the student just to show that they get the reward. That bad effect, after 3 years of experience, I end up with saying stop. The poor people who really deserve the reward and they could fight for it are no longer allowed to do it. And me, for example, being the one who rewarded for twice, I was really dying at the end. My feeling that my project and my job wasn't appreciated because I am not like a professional at that time. I'm just a student. The freelancers are actually a team of engineers who are professionals who would execute and design a very, like let's say, anyway, it would be very good because you don't spend any time on it. You get it ready to be to defense it in your defense in your graduation project. It's something like a nightmare if you work in your project in your hand. But if something ready, then you will be able to work on it just for a few hours.
Right. Yeah. That's definitely one of the dangerous side effects. Whenever you bring money into something, people try to, we call it working the system or gaming the system, where you try to hack the system, where you try to make it work for yourself.
Yeah.
But
and there will always be shortcuts for everything.
Shortcuts, yeah, making shortcuts or something like that. Yeah. So Marcelo, it's not really the same thing, I think, what you're doing in Brazil. But how is it that you got into the program? Did you have to apply for a special program, or how does it work in Brazil?
Yes, it's kind, but I think it's not big idea when I gain money for to study. and you need to maintain your scores high, and uh, you need to how I say this, your family is not so rich. Yes,
Yeah, if you don't have much money or your family doesn't have a lot of money, yeah.
and to stay in the universities is expensive, and
Yeah,
you need to a home and food,
right.
this
Yep.
kind of stuff.
Living
And
expenses, yep.
yes,
Yeah.
and in Brazil have a program similar, the USA, for motivate the students study math and science.
Oh.
The government pay too, but it's kind to students create about the subject.
Hmm.
You understand?
Yeah, well, I'm wondering, is it working because of the financial incentive or the money that they give you? Are there more Brazilians taking math and science and becoming uh, computer engineers or scientists? Is that happening?
Yes, yes. Is
Mm-hmm.
some areas in Brazil have no many students
Mm.
like math, biology, and
Mm-hmm.
science. Is
Yeah.
out of the government try
Mm-hmm.
to interesting these students to study these topics about it.
Yeah. 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 So was that the same in Syria, Imad? Or did they have a lot of people studying in your area, like different technological things or subjects, math, science, electronics, things like that?
People would love to study such like specialties,
Hmm.
but the government, or let's say the university, have kind of plan that
Mhm.
would not allow everyone to get at university, and
Mhm.
in some, let's say, some areas, you feel like the limit and the strict and the requirements are very high, and we don't have options. Like for me, for example, I get, I think we graduate only 12 students
Wow.
and one girl. 12 students and one girl
Yeah.
graduated from the university. The
Wow.
others were either not able to get through because it's very hard,
Yeah.
um, or like in the first year, who get in there? I remember only 14 students,
Wow.
40 students, yeah.
40 students. Yeah.
And yeah, in the first year, more than half of the students failed to pass the
Wow.
first year. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was very hard, and when they raised the reward, it was like like more challenging. You see
Yeah.
the challenge in the students' they are like, every single student is unique. They're
Right.
all like perfect. At
Right.
the same time, it was like don't doesn't have to be like that. It's very
Yeah.
much like the market is dying, and the country itself don't need that high qualified people. So we
Hmm.
graduated after like 5 years, very exhausted, very
Yeah.
tired. Think
Yeah.
about yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was like nightmare.
Wow. What and Mo, in Turkey, what is it like when people go to the university? Do they have to pay? Because I don't know if you guys saw this, but Spanish teacher Paulino, he popped in here on the discussion in the very beginning before some of you guys got here, and he said, "I think I study harder when I have to pay." And he says, but he would work harder to finish a project, for example, if he got paid for it. So he's saying that in the United States, for example, you have to pay to go to school, and not elementary school necessarily, but college or university level, and it can cost a lot of money. I actually don't know if students um, study harder if they're paying. Sometimes their parents are paying. Sometimes they're taking out loans. But what's it like in Turkey, Mo? Do people have to pay to go to the university, or is it free?
No, it's free.
Not free.
Uh, no, it's free, but I want to tell you something.
Okay.
I think our need uh, our need motivate us.
Your okay, our needs motivate
Oh,
us.
yeah, yeah. Like You know, money, by money you can't get anything. For this reason, money is very important to motivate you. But not only money, my son, my family, my wife, if
Mm-hmm.
the girl that I love her, she will motivate me to offer for her what she needs. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
my son, my kids will motivate me, okay, to work hard, to offer for them what they need, their future, as you for you.
Yeah.
Now, you are spending a lot of time from your time to teach us because your kids, their future motivate you. You have to do something for them. You need money, you need anything. That's
Mm-hmm.
our need decides the motivation. Okay.
Yeah. So you're saying that your needs um, decide your motivation or influence what your motivation is, but you're also saying that money is a big factor in that because money is so necessary in our modern day lives to buy food, to buy clothing, to have fun, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yuki, do you have any disagreements with what he's saying about that, about our
Mhm.
needs
Mhm.
motivating us?
I recently I had watched two interesting films about success person.
Okay.
One is a social network. Do you know?
Yeah, the
It
Facebook
is
guy?
about Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other is Apple.
Steve
Uh,
Jobs?
Steve Jobs. It's a film name is Jobs. Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
It is about founder of Apple computer, Steve
Yes.
Jobs, and two person is well known as a success person business,
Yeah.
and they earned a lot of money. Yeah.
Yes.
In his short life, yeah, in
Yeah.
his young ages, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So people think they are success person, yeah.
Because of
But
the money. Yeah.
because
Okay.
yes, yes, because of money. But
Okay.
in this film, they start their service. One is they started Facebook, yeah.
Yeah.
Another created one of first computer, personal computer, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
When they created their business, they just immerse oneself in their interesting things. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they just absorb oneself in their hobby. Yeah,
Yeah.
not thinking about money, but in result they they had much more money. They earned much more money than other person.
Yeah.
It means that maybe, and I think it is maybe they are special cases, but
Yeah.
I think money is one of the motivation, but it is not all.
Okay.
Firstly, I think it is a lucky person who can find a job that you really absorb in this. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
After if you concentrate all your effort, all your power in one job, if you do every effort to achieve what you want to do, maybe money after follows you, after come to
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think I
I
think
understand
so.
what you're saying. So,
Yes.
you're saying that some of the wealthiest people
Hmm.
that we know of and who we call successful, they they didn't necessarily start their projects because they wanted money. They started because they had an interest, a passion, a desire to do something, creative interest, and they just did it. And because it was so inspired, many other people liked it. And when millions of people like something, you can make a lot of money.
So I'd like to say that the passion is first, money is after. Such a theory maybe can apply to education of children.
Yeah.
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 So in that sense, I don't agree the method of this statue.
Okay, let me catch up Nada here. Hey, Nada, today's topic is about motivating students by paying them money. So in the beginning of the class, I read this article which was talking about in the United States, they were trying to get some low-income students to take high-level, college-level classes. And if they did, and if they passed the exam with a high score, a high enough score, they would get $100. And then the teacher who taught them would also get $100 per student who passed that exam. And so it worked in the sense that many more students took the classes, many more passed than usual, and the students got the money, and the teacher made quite a bit of money, actually. So, so we were talking about this idea of, do you pay people to study, to learn things, and what are the benefits of that? You know, motivating people to do things they might not do, or what are some of the bad side effects that might happen, like maybe making it so it's not fair, with some people using more money to get private tutors or to, you know, do a better job, or maybe also kids not wanting to do other things if they don't get paid, you know, things like that. So do you have any opinions about paying students or getting paid yourself as a student, perhaps?
No, maybe it's a good thing for poor students or those who can't collect the amount of money which is required for learning or something. It will be a very good motivation for them. And for example, we have here in Egypt and many countries, it's kind of having something like that, of paying the parents of a child some money in order to prevent them from getting him out of school in order to work as a child workers or something. So they compensate the family by giving them money and telling them that if they allow the student himself to learn, they will compensate them by giving them money. So it's a good idea. But the bad thing in that is maybe it will become a business. So the students won't concentrate on or appreciate studying or learning as a goal in itself, and they will connect it with money or something. So everything had a bad side and pros and cons.
Yeah, the pros and cons. Yeah, yeah. You bring up the point. That was another thing that we talked about. Yuki and Imad were also concerned about having your own internal motivation to do things, to learn things because you want to, because it's fun, because it's interesting. And if you make it, or if you tie it, we could say if you tie it to money all the time, you know, then maybe it makes learning not so much something that people do just because they have a desire. Because it's interesting, though, in trying to, it's an interesting idea to motivate people that don't usually do this certain thing, like take math or science. Because I'm thinking about, like, boys, you know, in my country, let's say 10 to 16 or 17-year-old boys, they don't need any financial incentive to become experts on video games, for example. Like, they just want to do it all day long, and they'll play, and they'll watch YouTube videos on how to get better, and they'll talk to their friends, and nobody has to give them any money to do good. In fact, they pay money to have like Xbox Live or to buy video games, but to get them to do something they don't really want to do, like take a math class or a difficult science class, maybe it will work. I don't know.
I don't think it's not about believing that it's important or not.
Okay.
Is something that they love. So if they love their classes, they will be encouraged to go into it.
Sure.
But studying with old ways or with an uninteresting way makes students feel boring, or especially when they are forced to go to classes which doesn't meet their qualities or their dreams, or being forced to go to something that they don't understand is something very bad for them.
Yeah.
So if they feel that this is important, they will go into it, and they will be motivated to go into it.
Yeah.
I agree with Nada's opinion. I think main purpose of education in school is to teach what interesting, what are fun to study, what interesting to know new things, but to earn money. I think recently some Japanese schools took place experiment. They take their children, their students, out of school, out of class, and all day they spend the time with teachers spend the time with their children outside. They visit any places in the local area, meet with workers of traditional art workers. Workers of traditional arts, and local farmers, and so they make every effort to teach children enjoying how to enjoy studying.
Yeah.
So it is a good experiment. I think it is a completely another way from such American way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's well, see, that's the interesting thing, because now that this particular experiment that they were trying was very specific to also math and science. So it's an interesting thing that, why the question is, why is math so not interesting to students in the United States and science? And you mentioned maybe it's because of the way that it's taught. Maybe it's because it's at some level it becomes very difficult, and maybe there's not enough support. So this is something that policymakers, politicians, educators are trying to understand, because a lot of Americans, they like to have fun. So they want to have things that are easy and that they really enjoy, and it doesn't necessarily include a lot of math and science. But our industries need workers, and they need workers who have high-level skills in math and science. And if we don't have those workers, then we bring those workers from other countries, and then Americans don't get the good jobs that pay good money because they don't have the skills. So that's another reason why people are trying to find ways to motivate students to study math and science. So,
yes.
Yeah. Okay, now that you think it's the nature of math, maybe it's too abstract and people don't like that? Is that what you're saying? Nada?
I think that, and maybe also because some of the students, especially at young age, doesn't get the importance of math, and some of the teachers are not interested in, especially at our culture, or here in Egypt, doesn't be enthusiastic to get the students into the importance of the subjects which they learn. I don't know what's it in America, but
Yeah.
if the student know what's the importance of what is he learning, he will be, especially those who have the ability of mathematical abilities, but
Yeah.
not everyone have this ability.
Yeah.
I think it's unfair to push student who doesn't have, who is not good at math or science, to force him into learning, and it's very very difficult for him. It's kind of torture. We are
Yeah.
torturing them.
Well, that's true. Well, that's one way to look at it. But in this article, actually, what he says was one of the teachers thought that was true. He thought that, the reality was only the smart kids could do this advanced coursework, so take these higher level classes. But what happened was here it says they adopted a come one, come all policy. That means you could just sign up for it. You didn't have to worry about whether or not you had studied other stuff before. So, and what happened was that a lot more people took it, 8 times as many students as he used to have, and 70% of them scored high enough to qualify for college credit. So, in fact, they were pretty motivated, and even the people that they thought were not so-called good at math, they actually did really well. So that's another thing I think that happens in education is at very early ages we say, oh, well, she's good at this and he's good at this, and then they believe that, and then you go through school, maybe even high school, and you think, I don't like math, I'm not good at math, but maybe you actually never had the chance, and you never really had a good teacher maybe, or found why math can be really exciting, So lots of things involved with somebody and what they like and what they don't like, because it can change, as you grow up and as other people influence you, and So, like Marcelo, did you know that you wanted to study computers when you were younger, or when did you start doing that?
Yes, it's kind of awkward when I wait for my mother go out
Yeah.
for broken the television and fix.
Oh yeah.
And when I young, I buy a old computer for this month for fix them.
Oh.
And
so you like to fix things?
Yes, and for example, in my class when I started, it's 40 students. Now it's only 8.
Wow. Yeah. Because they drop out.
Yes, yes. It's hard to when to turn engineer. You need to put a lot of effort.
Yes. Yes.
And some people like make a study some things more easier to.
Yes. So now that Marcelo lives in Brazil, and in fact he is on some type of program where he's studying computer engineering, right?
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah,
Yes.
and he gets paid to do that as long as his grades are very high and very good. So we were talking about that. So that's helping him because he's getting money to be able to live, because these subjects are so difficult. Like Ahmad was saying, it's very torturous actually. Some of these subjects are very difficult. It makes your life very difficult if you have to try to work and make a living and also study. So, some governments now are paying certain students to take these high-level courses because it really does take a lot of time to learn. Is that right, Ahmad?
Yeah.
They're difficult topics that take a long time to figure out and think about, and it's not just like, you know, reading a book and then writing a paper, you know, which you can do last minute at night.
Yeah.
You know.
Especially in the developing countries.
Yeah.
In the developing countries, the mainstream education is broken. Like the system is not working. The education, the whole thing is nothing.
Yeah.
Like the public schools don't offer anything for the students. Not even for their teachers. The teachers themselves not getting paid.
Sure.
So the only choice is to go to all the money, all the rewards that you offer. That will all go spent to the private tutoring classes and the private centers.
Yeah. That's true. That's one of the problems with having really good math and science classes is a lot of schools don't have the resources to have like a good science laboratory which would be more fun. You know, it'd be more interesting and more fun if students could actually get their hands on chemicals and things to do experiments. But if you just keep reading things out of a book, it's kind of boring. So a lot of people are just like, this is too boring and it's too much to remember without actually doing experiments and stuff. So that's another reason. Okay, you guys, our time is over for this hour. Does anybody have any questions? Nada, you have a student who is great in math but very poor in languages. Yes, that can happen sometimes too. Are you a teacher, Nada?
Yeah. Yeah, an English teacher.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You're great.
Sweet. Sweet. Okay, well, thanks for coming to class, everybody. And I have some more classes at crazy different times this week, so if you are awake and you want to take a class with me, sign up. Okay? Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Maud. Bye, Maud.
Bye.
They have fun.
I
So,
see.
yeah.
Soccer game is taking place every Saturday.
Every Saturday, yep.
Yeah.
For 10 Saturdays. That's the season in the fall.
That's good. That's good. Such a practice is useful for
Exercise?
get higher the motivation of practicing.
Yeah, they like it.
Yeah,
they like it. Well, we can talk about that too. Should we pay them to play soccer? So actually, the topic that we're gonna discuss, because it's not a reading class, it's a speaking class, but I wanted to read something to you, and I just want to have you can follow along if you want, but also you can just listen if you want. And this is going to give the context for what we are going to talk about, and I'm going to be asking for your opinion, your ideas, your experience. But first, I'm going to take a couple of minutes and read this out loud to you guys. It's an article that I found after we were talking about motivation, and Nihan brought up the idea of money as a motivator. So this has been happening in the United States, and it's paying students. Okay? So I'll read, and then we will talk about it. The title is, Should Schools Offer Cash Bonuses for Good Test Scores? As part of the National Math and Science Initiative, some high schools have opened up their advanced placement courses to all students, and those who score a 3 or higher on the AP exam earn a $100 reward, as do their teachers. What do you think of Financial, who may or may not be here at this hour, was singing Money, Money, Money in the background as an example of what can motivate people to do stuff. Work harder, study harder perhaps, achieve something that maybe they wouldn't otherwise. So that's what we're going to talk about. Mo, what time is it now in Turkey?
4 in the morning.
Wow. Do you stay up all night too, like Nihan?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah.
When do you sleep?
Maybe after 1 hour I will go to sleep.
Oh, okay. Good. I'm always curious when people are sleeping. Hi, Ahmad.
Hi, Lisa, how are you?
Good. What time is it in Egypt?
I was guessing like you laughed because you know the time right now. It's 3 a.m.
3. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, well, that's what I was asking Mo, is when does he sleep? And when are you going to sleep, Ahmad?
Um, I think I'm not determined. I'm not certain today.
Well,
Kind of, I slept early today,
um,
and I just woke up about an hour ago, two
oh,
hours just
2
like
hours
that.
ago, yeah. Okay, well, everybody has different time schedules, so it works. That's why it's nice that Verbling has classes every hour. So if you're awake and you're interested, you can come and see what's happening. So in this hour, like I said, we're going to be talking about a topic of motivation and money and getting paid to do things. In this case, study. Hi, Marcelo. How are you? I think your microphone is muted because I don't hear you. So click on the microphone above the Verbling chat.
You hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you now. Marcelo, where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
Brazil, of course. What part of Brazil?
Middle and the
The middle.
center.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What state? What state in Brazil?
Minas Gerais.
Minas Gerais. Okay, great.
Yes.
Well, welcome. And Yuki, hi Yuki. How are you this evening or this morning for you? Middle of the evening for you? What time is it in Moscow? Yuki, you might be coming in still. Okay, guys. So this is enough people to get started. And
Sorry.
yeah, no problem. I thought it takes a little
Okay.
while sometimes. Yuki, what time is it in Moscow?
It's 5 o'clock a.m.
Okay, we got
now.
3, 4, and
In the
5.
morning.
Yes, you guys are late.
Yes, early morning.
You're
It's
early
early
morning.
morning.
They're late. Yeah. Well, for me right now it's 6 p.m. in the evening, so my kids are in the other room eating dinner, and so we're gonna do some English class right now.
How was the result of your children's soccer game?
Oh, the soccer
How
games?
is the
Pretty good.
how is the soccer game of your children?
Good.
Good?
Two wins
He
and
won?
one loss. Yeah.
Oh, great result. Yeah.
Yes. But it was kind of funny because the other day one of the moms of the team said every Saturday 50% of the teams lose. And that's true. Every, half the people win and half the people lose. But at least incentives to perform well in school. Would you study harder if there were a cash bonus attached to a good grade? In classes and scores soar with incentives for AP tests, Sam Dillon reports. So this is in this article here. Joe Nystrom, who teaches math at a low-income high school, used to think that only a tiny group of students, the smart kids, were capable of advanced coursework. But 2 years ago, spurred by a national program that offered cash incentives and other support for students and teachers, Mr. Nystrom's school, South High Community School, adopted a come one, come all policy for advanced placement courses. Today, Mr. Nystrom teaches AP statistics to 8 times as many students as he used to, and this year 70% of them scored high enough to qualify for college credit, compared with 50% before. 1 in 4 earned the top score possible, far outpacing their counterparts worldwide. South High students said Mr. Nystrom and his colleagues had transformed the culture of a tough urban school, making it cool for boys with low-slung genes who idolize rappers like Lil Wayne to take the hardest classes. They were helped by the National Math and Science Initiative, a non-profit network that provided laboratory equipment and special training for teachers and organized afternoon tutoring and Saturday sessions. It also paid $100 each to students who scored a 3 or above on the AP exam, and to their teachers, who can also earn additional rewards. Because 43 of his students passed the exam this year. Hi everybody, this is Lisa once again, and in this hour we're going to have a speaking class here on Verbling. Because there's nobody in class right now, I'm just going to give you all a little bit of information about Verbling. Hi Paulina, how are you? Verbling is a website where people can come and take classes in English, Spanish, Russian, Italian, French, and in English we try to have classes, at least one or sometimes even 2 classes per hour, every hour of the day and the evening, 24/7 as they say. So we have lots of different teachers, males and females, teaching English native speakers from around the world. From English-speaking countries, so they are native English speakers, but they live in different countries. So my name is Lisa, and I live in the United States of America. I'm from California originally, but I live in Washington State now. And hi there, Mo. How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. So I was just doing a little introduction to the class while we wait for some people to show up.
Okay, continue.
Okay, thank you. This is going to be a speaking class, so we're going to have a conversation. But before we actually start talking, we're going to read a little bit of an article about the topic that I chose for the class, which was inspired by the previous class that we had about an hour or 2 hours ago, where we were talking about motivation and what motivates people to do things. And Nihan